determine what are the questions we need answered, being able to pose those questions and then allow space, allow time, allow just like thinking to happen on how we solve that particular problem. Hey, welcome back, everyone. My name is Tanner O'Brien. I am the founder and CEO of Benefit Marketing. I am a senior partner here at Action Coach in Central Texas. And for those of you that haven't followed me much before, I am just a general lover of business, of kind of operational side of business, finance, marketing, the numbers side of things, and genuinely just enjoy learning a lot about business and how to apply different aspects of things that we can learn along the journey and then putting them into practice. Putting them into practice, testing them, and then learning new things as a result. There oftentimes tends to be a little bit of a difference between, just the things that we can read and learn and listen to and actually putting it into application. That the art of application is the thing that really solidifies whether we truly understand something or not. And that is what I live by and work through in my business and things like that. So with that, it is Friday at time of recording. Another Friday where on Fridays I love to just kind of take a moment, think back, look back, reflect upon the week, and think through what are some of the biggest lessons that I've learned or kind of think as I went through application of different things. What was the feeling? How did that actually work in my own business, my own life, to kind of share some of those experiences and those stories with y'all? So this week I'm looking back and I'm trying to think through like what are some of the big lessons, the big learnings, and the one for me is actually an extension of some of the conversation that I had last week. So last week we talked a little bit about identifying the right problem to address, measuring a whole bunch of different things, identifying here's the actual constraint, and putting our effort and energy on fixing that one thing. This week is really just an extension of that, and that is providing the space and the opportunity, the headspace, the thought patterns, things like that, to allow for answering the right questions. Once we determine what are the questions we need answered, being able to pose those questions and then allow space, allow time, allow just like thinking to happen on how we solve that particular problem. I'm currently rereading a book called Essentialism by McKeown. Here it is here. For those that are watching this on video, phenomenal book. It's one that I've read a couple times now, and just like different little pieces of it stand out to me at different points in my journey. And over the last couple of weeks, it's been all right, we can't do everything well. Let's focus on the things that matter most versus trying to get everything done. And a big piece of that is allowing for space. So I've really taken that to application this week. And I actually have a few things kind of written on my whiteboard, a very specific question that I just need to allow my brain time to think about and figure out how to answer. How do we get X number of things done in this week? How do we get X number of leads? How do we get, whatever the question is, but posing that question and then just allowing space and time to properly and effectively answer that. Done that a couple different times now, and it's really fun to see what types of responses and answers come to mind out of it. Some are really good ideas, some are less good ideas, but being able to just allow that space, write some of those ideas down, kind of use a whiteboard and just map out different things that are in my head, and being able to say, all right, here's, now that I can look at all the different ideas and thoughts and pictures and things like that, I can look at that and say, here's the top 2 or 3 things that might make a difference. Let's map that out a little bit further. What would it look like if? And it's been a lot of fun. Just this morning, as I was doing my exercise, and something came to mind, and I had a question that was, how do I get 10 sales meetings a week? How do we book 10 sales meetings a week? It's a number that we don't traditionally hit. I'm like, okay, can we do this in one strategy? Do we need multiple strategies? And just like thinking through that process. And then another question came to mind that I'm like, I'm going to add this on because I think it's really important. And the question essentially is, if I was not allowed to do any of the actual work to make that happen, then what would that look like? And I don't know the answer to it yet. But being able to pose kind of bigger questions that create some leverage and things like that, and then just allowing space and time to give that some thought and see, what types of answers come to mind. So That's kind of my big lesson from this week. And, I find what works best for me to create that space is one, I just need to drop doing everything and allow other people to do some things for me or for the business, outside of me just tackling it because I can. And then two is just like literally giving myself opportunities where I think best. I tend to think best when I'm in the middle of a workout. I'm doing some sort of exercise. I tend to think best if I go on a walk. I've actually thought about, like I said, it's Friday. Later this afternoon, I don't have as much scheduled in my calendar. I may take some time to just go for a 20-minute walk. Allow my brain to think, like no headphones, no distractions, nothing else like that, and just allow the brain to kind of work. For me, that's what tends to work best. I know for others, it's writing. Sometimes it's just like speaking to a camera like this. It could be, sitting and meditating, or sitting in a very specific room, or different things, right? Everyone's got their thing, and that would be my encouragement: is kind of think through, how do you think best, and like where do your best ideas come from? If it's in the shower, go take a long shower, take a long hot shower, and just enjoy it, right? And allow the brain just to kind of work through some of those problems. We give that space for time and thinking, the answers tend to come out, and then it's just a matter of kind of figuring out how we put them into practice. So there's my lesson for this week, and a book recommendation. So if you haven't read Essentialism by Greg McKeown, definitely recommend it. It's a great read. Like I said, it's one that I tend to get through a couple different times. It's probably my second or third time through this one. It's about one of those at least once a year, just kind of refresher. So definitely a good recommendation there. And there's my lesson for the week, and hopefully this is helpful for some of y'all out there. We'll be back again next week with some additional kind of marketing tips, things like that. And of course, always a weekly recap on some of the lessons learned as I actually go and apply this stuff in my own real life. So with that, share kind of your top takeaways from this last week. Put it in the comments below. Always love to hear the stories of other business owners and other entrepreneurs and business leaders out there. If you're in your career and you're still kind of looking at how you continue to improve and get better and all that kind of stuff out there, share some of the lessons, or some of the big aha moments that you've had over the last week or two. Always love to kind of share and create that community. So with that, again, Tanner O'Brien, and we will see you again next week.